What is up, everyone? I'm coming on here for a couple of plays for today. Now, yesterday we did hit this 8.5x last night, and this is really important. I talk about this quite a lot, but when we do hit an 8.5x, it's very hard not to be profitable on that day. And this was one of those days where we literally hit one entry. It was one 8.5x. If you guys know what I do here, I play a lot of 3-man and 4-man entries. So they do not hit very often. They might hit maybe one in every 7, maybe one in every 8 slips. So you're going to see a ton of PrizePicks losses in your account, right? That is what I say every day. When I show you guys these graphs, I show you guys a ton of losses, right? 233 losses, 69 wins so far this year on PrizePicks, all right? But we are up in the green, and that's what's important. Now, when I show you guys the straight bets, it's the opposite of that because we play a lot of even odds type of odds, so they're not plays that you're going to hit maybe one in every 7 or 8 entries. But we did hit an 8.5x yesterday. That means we go up 7.5 units from this one entry alone, which means, in other words, this pays for 7 losses, okay? Now, the rest of the day, this one went very close, right? This guy definitely could have went under if his team lost an extra game. That's what I always talk about in league. So a loss here, a loss here, a loss here. This one is actually a setup, so it's not a loss. This game's happening right now. It kind of is blending in, but this is a setup going into today. But yeah, we have like 1, 2, 3, 4 losses here. Better, I don't really track better. I can if you guys want me to. It's just kind of hard to. We had a DMP and a miss here, but you guys will see, a couple of misses. We had like 4 misses or maybe 5 misses, 6 misses, whatever it is. But this one entry, we go up 7.5 units because of. So, let's say we missed 6 entries yesterday, but we hit this one entry and we go up 7.5 units because of it. Well, 7.5 minus 6 is actually 1.5 units in the green that we went up yesterday, okay? And this is the thing that a lot of people do not understand, because a lot of people will go through their PrizePicks account, they'll see a ton of red, they'll scroll through it and they'll be like, man, it's loss after loss after loss. But then they don't realize that this one entry right here is literally paying for all of those losses and then some, okay? So understand the math there. That's the number one thing that I always see people struggle with, is they don't understand the math of what we actually do here. This is the number one thing of what we do, is we play long shot type entries. When they hit, they're going to pay off a ton of losses and then some, okay? And then we're going to come to days, we're going to eventually have days where we might hit 2 of these, 3 of these in a day, and we're really going up 10 units, 12 units in a day on those type of days. All right, so again, over about 300 entries so far this year, more than 300 entries, we are up about 45 units. The ROI is about 10%. That is pretty typical, that what you're going to see over what we do on the VIP. It's about 10 to 12% ROI. Here's the past 2 years of sports betting. As I always say, guys, there's ups and downs, especially ups and downs when you play entries like this and you play 9x 10x entries, is you might have a streak of 20 entries in a row that don't hit. And then you might come back the next day and you might have 4 entries, 4 9Xs or 4 10Xs all hit in a day, which we actually did last Super Bowl. I think we had like 5 or 6 4-mans hit in one day. This Super Bowl, so just a couple of days ago, about a week ago now, we hit, I think, 3 or 4 of those in that Super Bowl day, okay? So we can have some massive days, we can have some not so good days, and that is what sports betting is all about. You're not going to have a massive day every day. You're not going to have losing days every day. It's about consistency, okay? So with that being said, yesterday's entries were not so great. We did take the Mavericks point spread that did not hit for us. So, if you guys were following the past couple of videos, we took Lakers money line, didn't hit. We took Pacers money line at plus 204, which was a 3x for us, that did hit. And then we took Mavericks Mavericks spread at about even odds, and that missed. So if you add up the 3 days combined, Lakers money line, which was a miss, you had Pacers, which was a 3x because they were heavy underdogs, and then you had Mavericks. That pretty much breaks us even on REBET for the past 3 days, even though we've missed 2 entries and hit 1 entry, okay? So again, I have another REBET entry for you guys today. This was the NBA play. It's unfortunate. And then this was the play for the LeBron discount. And it sucks because these discounts have not been going our way. The Jokic discount, which I said this yesterday, but the Jokic discount that happened, I think like 3 days now, 3 days ago now, we missed it by 0.5, and it was Jokic needing 0.5 points. So that would have been great, because again, that would have been a 6x or a 5x, whatever it was. It would have paid off a lot of losses, because these are 3-mans and 4-mans, which I do play here. Now, going into this game, you'll see here that was a very, very back and forth game, right? It was 6-17. It was 18-23, and this team actually wins with 18 kills, which is kind of unusual. And it was 27-13. So it was a very, very high scoring game. A lot of kills exchanged between these teams. You'll see pretty much everyone on this blue team here, the name's Pacific, pretty much went over, except the guy that we bet on, which is Kumara. So Kumera does go under, but Fire Accept does go over because his team actually did win 2 out of 3 of the games. And I believe this team was the favored team going into this game. But yeah, this is a pretty back and forth game, and not much correlation happening in this game, which is going to happen in League of Legends. Not every single League of Legends series is going to go the correct ways. Now, if we do look at this play, right? So this is the big shining star of the day, which we did hit this, right? I sent this out at about 9 p.m. Last night. We had DRX players and we took them over, right? So I took this Rich guy over and I took this Jaiwoo guy over. Now, if we look at their games, right, we bet on this blue team. You'll see Rich 3 kills, Jaiwoo 10 kills in the game that they won. All right, let's go to the second game. 18-25. This black team actually ended up winning. Rich 5 kills, Jaiwoo 9 kills. So within 2 games, because they won a game and then they had a pretty good second game where they got a lot of kills, within 2 games, these guys already hit their overs. We bet on map 1 through 3. Here's the third map, by the way. They actually took the third map as well. Jaiwoo 3 kills, and then Rich 3 kills as well up here. And as you guys are going to notice, right, like this game's a good example of that. If we look on the right side, 3 kills, 1 kill, 2 kills, 5 kills. A lot of these guys kind of went under their line, not as many kills. And if we look over here, 3, 6, 4, 10, right? Not the best example ever, right? These games sometimes aren't the best examples ever of correlation. But League of Legends, when a team wins, you're going to get a lot of kills. When a team loses, you're not going to get many kills, all right? And I'm going to obviously get into that more today when we talk about the play. There's no NBA going on. There's actually an all-star type weekend day. I think it's like a celebrity game tonight. There is a Drewski like three-pointers made type of discount or something like that, so make sure to get that in. It's under like celebrity 3-point. Okay, so make sure, pause the video, go ahead and get that in while you can, because it's gonna be hard for me not to forget to do that, because I don't know why I would ever bet on celebrity 3-pointers made, but it is a discount at the end of the day. So if you do want to take advantage of that, go ahead and do it. I'm not gonna have a play for it in this video unless you wanted to sub something in for it, but yeah, go ahead and do that. There is college basketball though, being played tonight and tomorrow morning, and there's honestly always college basketball, but this really reminded me that March Madness is upon us. So March Madness happening in probably, maybe like another month here, but March Madness always a very fun time. I'm going to take the Columbia Lions money line in tonight's game, Lions versus the Penn Quakers. So go ahead and take Columbia Lions wherever you want to get your straight bets in on. I always recommend REBET and Onyx odds. I live in a state like Texas that does not have traditional sports betting like FanDuel, like DraftKings. So on REBET, I'm able to put down money on money lines, on spreads, on player props, also on parlays, and then on over unders as well. And again, if you want to look at the straight bets and how far we've done in the straight bets, we are up 18, 17 units so far this year with the straight bets with a positive record. And then on REBET, guys, if you sign up for that, 2 months free of the VIP. All these states in the orange right here are available for REBET, and you'll get a $100 deposit match. Onyx is another one I talk about a lot. You actually get a free $100. So $10. Free $100. You can also play this on Onyx odds as well. These two apps are pretty interchangeable. You can just get different lines down on these states, in these states that don't have money line spreads, all that on traditional sports books. Okay. So get that in, get REBET, guys. You'll get 2 months free of the VIP for that. You can also sign up for Kalshi. Kalshi is another one that's a newer app. I just got a code for it a couple weeks ago, and a lot of you guys have been getting into the VIP this way. Again, just text me Kalshi to my number up here, and you'll get 1 free month. So the instructions are up there. Now let's get into the PrizePicks play of the day, all right? So I did mention college basketball. This is actually happening tomorrow afternoon, I think at like 2 p.m., and it's Louisville versus Baylor, and I'm taking this Ryan Conwell guy to go over 17.5 points. Looking at the research, it's really simple. I think his line should be more like 19, okay? So it's at 17.5. I would take him at 17.5. I would take him at 18. If it goes up to 18.5, maybe stay away from it a little bit, and then definitely 19, that's like his fair value, okay? So his fair value is 19. We're taking it at 17.5. So take Ryan Caldwell over for this Louisville game right here. And then League of Legends duo, and this is honestly one of my favorite teams to ever bet on for the overs in League, and I want to explain why. First of all, though, into the entry, Chovy over, and then Kin over. I think his name's Ken. So it's Kiin. And I'm taking him over 11 kills, and I'm taking Chovy over 12 kills. Now, what I always talk about in League of Legends, what do I always talk about, right? When a team wins, the overs hit. When a team loses, the unders likely hit, okay? So if we can determine if a team's going to win, then we can likely determine if a team's going to go over. If we can determine if a team's going to lose, we can likely determine that the players on the team are going to go under, okay? Now, let's look at Gen G, which is what this team is, right? You'll see here here, this Gen team. This is the best team in the world. All right. So think about, you know, prime Miami Heat, think about prime Barcelona, prime New England Patriots, whatever you want to think about, these like just absolute dominant franchises, right? The early 90s, you know, Bulls, the mid 90s Bulls, whatever you want to think about. This is Gen G. Okay. Gen G has been like this for probably like 3 years now. Chovy is the Michael Jordan of this team. He is the #1 player in the world. And then he has a lot of superstars around him as well. And that is who we're going to be betting on. All right. We also quite often bet on a guy like Ruler, who is another star player on this team. I think his line is a little bit high right now, to be honest. But if you look at the past 11 games they have played so far this season, they have won absolutely every game. Okay. So they had a best of 3 versus HLE. They swept them. They had a best of 2 right here. They swept them. Best of 2 swept them. Best of 2 swept them. Best of 2 swept them. Okay. Or sorry, best of 3. And then these were best of 5s actually. So I got that a little wrong. But again, all you need to understand, they have won every single game, and they have won every single game in dominant fashion. If you look at the duration here, all of these games are in the low 30 minutes, which honestly, when you kind of dominate a game, you're going to end the game by about low 30 minutes. If you get into kind of the 40, 45 minutes, that's when it's a very back and forth game. No one can really end the game because the teams are just going back and forth. But again, all victories across the board. So with victories comes kills, and with kills, Gen G is going to probably win this game. They're probably going to clean sweep them again, even if they only win 2 out of 3 of the games. All right. So I think these are the 2 possibilities. They either clean sweep them, which I honestly think is probably most possible, because this is just an insanely good team. It's really hard to explain how good this team is. Or they'll probably go 2-1 and have 2 wins and have their first loss of the season, which would honestly be surprising. Even if they go 2-1 and only win 2 of the games, I still think this could hit. All right, because in this loss, it'll probably be a close game, probably a hard fought game. And then the 2 wins, Chovy could probably get 5 kills each in these games. Kiln can probably get maybe 4 or 5 kills each in these games as well. All right, so this is going to be the play of the day. If that did not make sense to you, all you need to understand is that in League of Legends, we're betting on 2 players on the same team. This player's on Gen, this player's on Gen. If they win the game, they're probably going over, okay? So thank you guys so much for watching. It's a bit of a slower day today. No NBA, no NHL, I believe. No kind of traditional sports, but we do bet a ton on eSports, really. Esports is like the #1 thing we bet on, which I don't really talk about that much. That's like, we bet on it all year round. And yeah, I love betting on eSports. I think it's such a great way to get into sports betting. And there's so many soft lines on League of Legends. I said this a couple of days ago, but you know, PrizePicks pours so much money into setting NBA and NFL lines, right? That's what everyone bets on. But if you can bet on things like League of Legends, like Counter-Strike, like Call of Duty, no one is really betting on that. They don't have that much money pouring into those different esports and stuff. So you can find a lot softer lines on these different sports. And then adding on top of that, actually, probably the main part is that you find crazy correlation as well. So again, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in tomorrow's video.